Hey there, ACPS. It's your host, Zoie Prandy. Join me this month to talk about shaping your future post-high school. We'll be featuring the class of 2023, along with high school counselors providing meaningful advice on college, trade school, or jumping right into the workforce. You don't want to miss it. I'll see you guys soon on Teen Talk. Hey there, ACPS. It's your host, Zoie Prandy, and welcome to Season 2 of Teen Talk. This is a show for students, and today's episode is all about the future. If you're a high school senior like me, planning for life after graduation can be challenging, and sometimes hard to navigate. We all have lots of questions with limited answers. Luckily, today we are joined by the students from the class of 2023 and the class of 2024, a school counselor, and a college and career advisor to provide some insights and meaningful advice about various pathways to success, including college, trade school, and the workforce. So whether you're an 8th grader in middle school or a junior in high school, we have information that you can use. In the studio today, we have Miss Early, high school counseling specialist. She is here to help us navigate post-secondary options. Welcome. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you so much for coming. So I have a question for you. From your perspective, what is the role of the high school counseling department in helping high school students after graduation?
So the high school counselors are very important when it comes to the role of students and their transition to post-high school. Starting in elementary and the middle years, we're working with students talking about careers and long-term goals. And then in 9th grade, we're continuing that conversation. Every student in 9th through 12th grade or through 11th grade will have a one-on-one advisement meeting with their counselor to talk about courses that might help them reach their goals or courses that they can take to do some career exploration. That might be a career technology program at their high school or at one of the CAT centers, CAT North or CAT South. And then also we talk about courses that they could take at the community college.
Yes, how interesting. I'm actually a CAT South student, so
very
similar experience.
What program do you study?
I'm right now in the Honors Interactive Media and TV production.
Nice,
So yes.
Perfect.
So what are the main types of paths post-high school that are available for students?
So there's a variety of things students can do after high school. Some students go right into the workforce. Others enlist into the military. And then other students are going to explore things at trade technical schools. They may do apprenticeships and work side by side. People in different industries and different trade industries, and then also take classes in order to get their certification in that industry. And then other students go to the community college to either do certificate programs where they can go right into the workforce afterwards, or they take 2-year degree programs, or they can go into the workforce or transfer to 4-year colleges after the community college. And then the last is the 4-year college or university path.
Yes, I love that there's like so many different options for us to consider.
Yes.
So what resources are available in school to really help students kind of make these decisions?
Sure. So starting in 6th grade and through 12th grade, and actually after high school, even alumni can access up to 3 years. We have the program called Naviance, which we get into in classroom counseling lessons and with individual counseling lessons. Students can use Naviance, which is a career and college data program that students can use to do research. They can do career interest inventories. They can look up different schools and colleges and even the military, find out more information about options. Other resources I would say are courses, electives that students can take that we talked a little bit about in the last question, whether that's at your high school elective courses or at a CAT center or the community college. And lastly, I'd like to talk about human resources because we have so many people at the high school level, especially, that can help students with these plans. New to schools about a year and a half ago are the college and career advisors. So every high school, in addition to a counseling staff, also has a college and career advisor at their school that they can access. Some of our college and career advisors are running workshops. They're taking students on field trips. They are meeting with students one-on-one and just really helping kids with those post-planning activities.
So it's so interesting. Love all this. I even know for me, like talking with different teachers, that's really how I found out about college and different programs.
Yes, teachers, coaches, administrators, all school staff can talk to you about different programs.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And are there any requirements for students who want to go into college, trade school, or even the military?
So, yes, there are always requirements for things.
Mm-hmm.
So, starting with college, the requirement is to graduate from high school, right? You need to have at least 2 years of a world classical language, at least Algebra 2. Of course, some colleges that are more selective want you to have more languages or more advanced mathematics and laboratory sciences. So, you really need to do your research of where you want to go to school to see what their requirements are. Also, some schools require the SAT or the ACT test, and some schools have made that test optional since COVID. So it just depends, and you really need to just do research, look up on their internet sites, and see what they're requiring. Trade schools, apprenticeships. Trade schools, you need a high school diploma or GED. Technical schools, same thing. A lot of apprenticeships are asking that students get their driver's license before they start their apprenticeships, and that way they can get to different work locations. So that could be a goal, a short-term goal for students to have in high school to get completed. And then the last one is the military, I think you asked about. Military, there's also a test you take. It's called the ASVAB test. A lot of high schools give that test in the fall and the spring, or either or. If you missed your fall testing date, then you can always take the test at one of your local recruitment stations in the county.
Yes, very, very informative.
Great.
Another question I have is, what do you recommend for students who aren't exactly sure what they want to do or how to make the best decision when there are so many different options?
So I'd say start with thinking about what your interests are and what you like to do. Like maybe what you like to watch on TV, what you like to read, what extracurricular activities you're involved in, or what elective or core courses that you really enjoy. So start thinking about that first. I'd say definitely get onto that Naviance database and work on the interest inventories, learning about career clusters. You can find a lot about careers that you may not have even heard of. And then also, I'd say, talking to those caring adults that we have in the building or maybe family members, because they can always give you really good advice. There's a lot of opportunities for students that might be announced on your morning announcements or maybe sent out to you through email about shadow days at different different businesses and locations around our area, field trips to either businesses or colleges or trade centers or even hospitals. So there's all kinds of opportunities. We also have guest speakers come into the building, so take advantage of these things, right?
Yes.
When Anne Arundel Community College comes to talk about all of the programs they have, even if you might not want to go to college, go and listen anyway, because they have information about non-credit programs, certificate programs, and trades that you can learn there as well.
Yes, I know at my school we have different colleges come as well, and there's so many different programs that I did not even realize, but just by going, I was able to gain so much more information.
Yes. And also, a really good tip that I love to give students is make sure you're also going to their open houses at the college, technical centers, trade schools. So, like, they always have open houses, sometimes during the week, sometimes they're on Saturdays. Visit, or if you don't have a chance to get to their location, log on to their virtual meetings and learn more from the people that are there.
Yes, yes. I want to thank Miss Early for taking the time to talk with me today about the options that are available for high school graduates and tips on making the best decision that's right for you. When we return, we're going to hear from Miss D, who is a college and career advisor here at AACPS. Welcome back. I am honored to have Miss D in the Teen Talk studio today. As the college and career advisor, she's going to share some needed advice on navigating the college application process. Miss D, how are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
So can you tell me, what is the role of a college and career advisor in helping students transition from high school to college?
I like to think of us as being a bridge, helping students go from point A to point B, point A being a high school student and point B being out into the workforce or going out into the real world per se. Just giving them the tools and the resources they need to help plan and make goals and achieve those goals so that they are successful after high school.
And what resources are available in schools to help students transition from high school to college?
So we do have our Naviance system where I don't think a lot of students really use that to their advantage. We have assessment tools that they can use as far as career interests, and there's even a profile where you can learn about your strengths. I also think we have field trips. We go on field trips. We have students go visit colleges, and then we also have guest speakers come in. We have the trade unions come in to talk about the different trades, and we also have partnerships with AACC and Arundel Community College, and they come in and they'll do a FAFSA workshop. So just giving information about the financial aspect of college to our students. Many students don't realize that you can apply for FAFSA and you can even use that aid to go to a trade school or technical school that accepts that. So it's very important to get those resources out there.
Yes, I definitely recommend college tours. I've even gotten some through my school, and just information that I learned just from doing that is very helpful.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you have one idea of how a college is, but then when you go out to see it, it could be very different or,
Yes.
you know, really help you solidify your choice. So.
And when students are researching a certain college or university, what should they keep in mind?
I think one of the biggest factors that students kind of don't think about, or a lot of students that I meet with, they don't think about, is the financial aspect of going to college. I just met with a student the other day, and he wants to go to a certain school, but he didn't think about tuition. So we're going through, and then we're realizing, okay, for 4 years, it's going to cost you X amount of dollars to go to this school. And then they're just like shocked, like, oh, I didn't know about that, but that was a top choice. So I think having that financial talk with the parents is very important before you start researching, so you know which colleges are available to you. But I also think knowing if you want to go to a big campus, do you want a small environment, and just activities. Are you a student athlete? Do you want to go to a D1 school? All those things are very important. And one of our college and career advisors, Taylor, she actually came up with a tool that helps. So she breaks down the specific areas. So if it's financial or it's academic, or if you want to be a student athlete, and you meet with the student and you kind of get an idea of what's important. You rank it from 1 to 10. And then you kind of can get an idea of what's important for the student, and then you can have that conversation. Okay, so why did you put financial as number 1? Or why did you put being a student athlete as number 1? And then you can work through that conversation to help them get to their goals.
Yes, I definitely love that tactic, kind of just thinking about what really matters to you.
Yeah.
I feel like students sometimes can kind of get caught up in like what everyone else wants or what's more accepted, but I think staying true to ourselves is really helpful with like navigating college and choosing the right one.
Yeah, it is very important, because then it'll work on how your experience is for your 4 years, so it's important.
So I know the college application process is very lengthy and very detailed. Do you know what really makes a candidate stand out to different colleges and universities?
Well, I think academics are important, so grades are important, but it's not the only thing that students should focus on. Admissions rep, they want to see a holistic view of how you are, or who you are as a student, excuse me. So I feel like, do you volunteer outside of school? Are you a part of any clubs? Are you on a sports team? What do you do on the weekends? I feel like things like that some students may not think about, and that kind of gives the admissions rep more insight into who you are and how you can potentially help their campus.
So how important is like the essay? I always hear like that's such a big role. How significant do you think it really is to your application?
I think it's a big part of your application, because without your essay, you're just numbers. So you're just your transcript. Pretty much. With an essay, you can give that admissions rep insight to who you truly are as a person, what you like, how you're going to, your characteristics, your strengths, your abilities. So it's very important to help paint a picture for them.
And how should students go about, I know recommendations are required. How should students go about asking for them? What should they keep in mind?
Well, recommendations they're required for some schools, so you really want to check on the school's website to see if they're required and if they're optional. I say if they're optional, you still want to get a recommendation. Because again, it's very important. It's just another added bonus to help the admissions rep see who you are. When you're asking for admissions, or excuse me, a letter of recommendation, you should do it early on. Most students think, okay, you know, the deadline's November 1st. I'm going to ask my teacher October 25th. No, let's not do that. Try to ask as early as you can. preferably maybe in the summer when school's almost starting, but definitely in the beginning of the school year. And going in person first and asking them is really good, and then submitting an email request.
Yes, I know you mentioned timelines about recommendations. Are there any other key dates or deadlines that students should know about for college and applying?
Yes, we have early action dates, which are fastly approaching, November 1st and November 15th for some colleges. And then you also have the trades and trade unions. There's Local 602, don't quote me on that, I believe, but you would have to check on the website. But Local 602 steam fitters, their application opens up November 1st to November 30th. And then the rest of the unions usually have a rolling admissions. So it's important to just check on the website to see.
And my last question is, how should students go about like exploring majors and finding the right path that they want to go down in college?
I think it's important to know yourself, know what your interests are, know what your likes are, what your dislikes are, because that can help point you in a starting area to begin exploring, but also using resources like the Occupational Outlook Handbook to go in and see, okay, I want to be an accountant. How much does an accountant make? Is that job going to decrease in the next 3 years? You know, what are the hours and things like that? And then also going out and volunteering or job shadowing so you can get that hands-on experience, because you might think an accountant does one thing during the day, and then you go in and you volunteer, or you get that shadow experience, and it's totally different. You can make a decision and be like, oh well, let's explore something else. So really going out there and volunteering is the most beneficial thing to do.
Yes, I definitely agree. There's definitely been some things I thought I wanted to do,
Yeah.
but as I did clubs and tried other things, it was definitely not. So
and it's a good thing too, because it gives you a point to say, okay, I'm not going to do this, let's try a different direction.
Yeah, definitely getting a lot of experience and trying different things.
Yeah.
I want to thank Miss D for taking the time to talk with me today. Now we're going to go talk to some college students about their experience. Today I am joined with the members of the class of 2023 and 2024 as we talk about the exciting journey beyond high school, where all your burning questions get answered.
My name is Ishika. I'm currently a freshman at the University of Maryland College Park, and I'm majoring in biology on a pre-med track.
My name is Jordan Miller. I go to the United States Naval Academy in downtown Annapolis.
My name is Cameron. I am a freshman at Louisiana State University. I am majoring in mass communications on the political science pre-law track.
Hi, I'm Samira. I'm a senior at Spring Park High School.
Hi, I'm Sophia, and I am a senior at Crofton High School.
So starting with the class of 2023, I'm going to start with Cameron. How has college life been so far? In what ways is it different from high school?
College life has been utterly amazing. If you know me, you know I'm a Swiftie, and one of my favorite Taylor Swift lines is "We're happy, free, confused, and lonely at the same time," and that is so college. And that's also one of my favorite things to say. My friends and I, we look at each other, we say, "That's so college," because it really is. It's so unpredictable. You never know what's happening next. For me, I'm in a sorority. I live in a residential college that is not my own. I live in the music and performing arts residential college because we ran out of housing options because I'm part of the biggest freshman class at LSU currently. There's 7,000 of us, and it's incredible. I mean, getting to mingle with people who you never would have met otherwise. Being, in my case, really far out of state is really fun because the culture is so different. And going to such a big school, especially in the SEC, football is massive. There's events all the time. And college is really just the best place to figure out who you are, who you're gonna be, and what you're gonna do in the future.
It's definitely been insane. So I'm what they call a plebe, so freshman first year. It is the most difficult year. You have a bunch of responsibilities, some of which aren't your typical college experiences. The application is completely separate. So if anyone is familiar with the Common App or just like direct portal applications, it's very different from that. I went through medical processes, talking with senators, talking with congressmen. I had to get a nomination. I had to be approved by the board here. So there's a lot that went into getting into this. Since I've been here, we go through something called Plebe Summer, so it's kind of like your basic boot camp. It's for 6 weeks, and it's very geared towards the Naval Academy. We learned everything from how to wear your uniform to how to walk in the middle of the hallway, which they call P-ways here. So as a plebe, I only can walk in the middle of the hallways, and every time I need to take a corner, like turn into my room, I have to square my corner, so turn in a 90-degree angle and say either go Navy, sir, or beat Army, sir. So That's plebe summer, and then the AC year starts. So your typical college activities, as I would say. I'm taking 17 credits, so a lot of class. In the spring, I'll be taking 18 credits, so it's like glorified high school. I have 6 class periods a day, a couple free periods where I go do whatever I have to do. After school, I go straight to sports period. So I throw javelin for the track team. So that's been a lot of fun. And then after that, go to dinner, I have some briefs, and then I go straight to study period. So it's been a very hectic day, normally getting about 6 hours of sleep on a good day. Doing a lot of schoolwork, but it's been amazing.
How about you, Ishika? How has college life been? How have you been adjusting?
Yeah, it's been going great for me. I moved out. I live in a dorm on campus, only on the weekdays though. I come home on the weekends. But it has really been an adjustment living on my own and living with a roommate, especially because I'm not used to living with a roommate either. Um, I'm in a living learning program, so I live with students who are also in my program. So everyone has similar interests. Like we're all taking the same classes. If I ever need help with anything, I just go knock on my neighbor's door, like, "Hey, do you know how to do this?" And we can all just collaborate on things like that. UMD is also like very lively. There's tons of sporting events all the time. There's lots of entertainment events that they put together. So there really has been something to keep me occupied every single day, which I think is great.
Yes, that sounds so amazing. So, with both of you guys in college, for us seniors, can you kind of go over the application process and what it really was for you that made you choose the school you're attending now?
My college application process was not particularly an easy one, and that's because when I was applying to schools, I really put myself in a box. I had a very specific idea of what I wanted my college application process to look like. Applying to LSU was something I never would have done. It is not something I thought I was going to be doing. So, if you would have told me this time last year that I was a sorority girl at LSU and not a hill turn at GW, I would have really thought you were lying to me. But what I say to class of 24 is keep your mind open, look at all of your options, apply undecided because I didn't do that and that really screwed me over in the end. And just kind of see where the process takes you. This is definitely not where I thought I was going to be, but it's where I can't imagine myself not being.
Yeah, so I actually applied to like a bunch of different colleges because, excuse me, I really wanted to go to like, one of the top schools or like some of the Ivies or something like that. Obviously, that didn't work out. UMD was like my last option. Like, if you told me I was gonna go to UMD last year, I would like probably break down crying because that is not where I wanted to go. But honestly, I don't regret my decision whatsoever because they have a great program for my major. I met all these wonderful people and I have no regrets where I am right now. As for the college application process itself, I'm a huge procrastinator. So I waited until near the deadlines for all my applications, which is a really, really bad idea to all the seniors watching this. Please do not do that. Please get a head start on your applications when you have the time, work on them and get them submitted so that you're not sitting there at your computer December 31st trying to meet the January 1st deadline.
I can definitely relate because I know for me, I'm applying to like 15 schools because I want to do like a film and TV major. So it's definitely, I can kind of relate to it being a lot. So I know one thing for me is definitely trying to stick to deadlines and doing them much earlier. So, it's kind of a question maybe for Cameron, kind of both of you guys. So since you guys are like one's in state and one's out of state, how has that experience been? Because I know for me, and I'm not sure if for Sophia and Samira, you guys can like chime in at all. If you're applying to in state or out of state, I know like a lot of people have different thoughts about it with like costs. So what's your experience been? What do you recommend more for seniors?
I'll never forget my freshman year of high school. One of my teachers said to me, if you can, go as far away as possible. And I didn't even think about that until I had already committed to my school. And I looked at myself and I said, hey, that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm an 18 and a half hour drive away and about an 8 hour airport travel day away. Had to do that a couple weeks ago. That was not fun. But it's honestly, I think it depends on the type of person you are. I'm a very outgoing person. I came in ready to make friends, ready to join different activities. Like I said earlier, I'm in a sorority, which is really fun. And I absolutely love and adore my parents so much, and I do miss them. But I'm also having a great time down here by myself. There are methods of communication. You know, you can FaceTime, you can call, you can text. And if you're okay with that, go ahead and do it. It is a whole different culture, a whole different life. There are things it's actually funny. I had a sorority formal this weekend and they were playing a lot of songs that mentioned Louisiana. And my friends looked at me and said, "You don't know these songs?" And I was like, "So I'm actually not from Louisiana. If you can't tell, I am not from Louisiana." It's a whole new culture. And it's something I never, ever would have got to experience. And I've also done so many things I don't think I ever would have done if I was in Maryland. And I absolutely love it. I know it's not for everyone, and that's totally fine. But this was definitely the right choice for me. And if you think it could be the right choice for you, why not go ahead and explore it?
Yeah, I'm actually kind of the opposite, obviously, as I stayed in state. So I really only spend my weekdays at Maryland, and then weekdays or weekends I come home. Because I'm very close to my family and I feel like I need the familial support from them. And like, I don't like being away from them for too long. And I really like the fact that like College Park is only about half an hour away from my house. So if I ever need anything, my parents are very close by. They're like my family, my support system, my structures, keep me here. So for me, staying in state was a bigger it was like something that was important to me, or staying at least nearby to Maryland. I didn't want to go too far, but I do still feel like I'm able to have a college experience and get to live on my own a little bit and get used to being by myself.
So, what really inspired you like to go into the Naval Academy? What do you want to pursue as a professional career?
So my dad was a class of 98. I'm 27. Um, but he came through here. He's from St. Louis. He enlisted for a year and then came here. I didn't want to come here until the end of my junior year. And then we went to a football game, and Navy lost like 32-0, something like that. And it was freezing. And it kind of sucked, and no one really wanted to be there. But at the end of the game, Navy always sings our hymn, the Navy Blue and Gold. Um, and everyone stood up after that game. It was freezing and they just wanted to leave. Everyone stood there and sang it. And I realized like at that moment, like, okay, they're crazy and I want to be that type of crazy. So it was a really magical moment where I was like, okay, this might actually be something I wanted to do. If you told me before my junior year I was going to go to the military, absolutely not. You couldn't have paid me $1 million to do it. But now I'm here doing it for free. Well, I get paid as much as it's like $200 a month, but it's paid for in push-ups. So it was a really cool experience deciding I wanted to come here. I did the entire application. Like my dad kind of pushed me to do it on my own to make sure I really wanted to come here. Um, and I'm sorry, someone just walked in. I lost my train of thought. Oh no, where was I going? Oh right. So I decided like I wanted to pursue this as best as possible. I gave it my everything. Sure Cameron can attest to. Like it was all I would talk about. It was all I would wear. I'd go to school and I'd be in a Navy sweatshirt, and the next day I'd be in a Navy t-shirt. Like it was always something Navy. Um, and when I got in, it was like the most magical moment ever. I got a letter of assurance in around November, which is kind of like a yes, you can come here, but we have to get your medical approved. And then I got in March after my medical had been approved. And I remember I was sitting in the parking lot of Crofton High School, and I was just refreshing the portal. One of my friends who was here last year just graduated. She told me they typically come out with the acceptances on Fridays. So it was like Friday at 7 a.m. And I was refreshing, sitting in the parking lot, and the portal popped up. And instead of a letter of assurance, it said like letter of acceptance, accept or reject. And it popped up, and I freaked out, and I got out of my car, started running around. I almost got hit by a car. I went straight up to Nick Aramita, who goes to West Point. He got in the same day as me. We both kind of had like a freak out moment in the parking lot. Um, I called my mom, I called my dad, my sister was freaking out in the car with me. So it was really cool. Really, really cool moment.
So I can ask more, but Sophia or Samir, do you guys have any questions you want to ask them at all based on their responses so far?
Yeah, Cameron, I literally remember you like you were all about GW. It was like insane. She really was. And I remember I toured GW in like January, and all I could think of was like, this is where Cameron wants to be. Like this just seems like a Cameron spot. And so when you committed to Louisiana, I was like, that's such a big change because there's like very different schools, like they're very different places. So it kind of like put in my head like, okay, there's what you want versus like what you kind of sort of need, right? So like creating that distinction on what schools you apply to has like been in the back of my head for the last I don't know how many months. It's it's crazy and it's a lot going on. So I just want to say thank you, Cameron.
Did
I want to
you
say
have any? Oh, sorry. You can go ahead, Kim.
I'm so sorry. I just wanted
Thank
to say
you.
to Sophia, that's very true. This is 100% not where I thought I was going to end up. But once I stepped foot on campus, literally the second I got here, I turned to my dad and I said, this is it. He said, what do you mean? I said, this is the school. This is where I'm going to end up. And I never, ever, I can't reiterate enough how I never thought that would have been the case. And I'm so happy here. Definitely touring schools, doing research. And I was an Avid kid. So it was supposed to be, I love Avid so much. I recommend everyone to take Avid. It was kind of supposed to be, I had my entire plan out. So one day I just went to my teacher and was like, last day to apply, I'm applying to this school. So it's totally random. It's totally whatever. It's very different for everyone, but definitely keep your mind open because you could be in Louisiana with me if you wanted to. I mean, why not?
Samira, did you have any questions that you wanted to ask or any thoughts so far?
Yeah, I wanted to ask like how you guys, I know you guys touched on it a bit, but how you really came to a decision to for sure committing to the schools you're at and like tips you would give to seniors who are going to commit to schools soon. And like how you like tips on how you would help tips on how they could make the decision for themselves.
Yeah, so I can talk on this a little. For me, the decision really came down to finances, because Maryland gave me a really, really nice scholarship, uh, compared to some of my other options that were going to be a lot more expensive than where I am right now. So for me, it was that plus being in state, plus the fact that it had everything I wanted for my major. It was close to DC, so I still have a little bit of the city aspect going on. It's not like somewhere in the middle of nowhere. Um, Everything like that just came together. I also toured the school before I committed, and I fell in love with it. I was like, this is great. This is a beautiful school. It's like perfect for me. So that's how I came to my decision.
I had one question. I know, Cameron, you talked about Avid. What kind of assistance and resources would be helpful for students as they make these post high school decisions? And like, what do you think in high school like really helped prepare you for whatever career field you want to go into?
So, like I said earlier, I was an Avid kid in high school. I actually started Avid in sixth grade. I was an Avid all the way 6 through 12. Avid gave me a ton of resources, kind of having the questions being asked of how do I explain this? Avid asks you questions that you wouldn't necessarily think about during your college process. So trying to kind of understand this is who I am, this is kind of where I see myself. How do I take that and turn that into a school? How do I look for a school that matches that? Also looking for schools that match who you are, not only as a person, but as a learner, as a student, and academically. That's really important. Utilizing all of the information available on college websites is really important. Making sure you're taking note of these things, making lists, checking them twice. I know that's what Santa Claus does, but that's also what you should do when you're applying to colleges. That's a very important part is making those lists. Additionally, having internships honestly was incredible. I had a couple internships my senior year, especially Teen Talk, which I loved and adored. And getting to do those internships, getting out in the real world, meeting people, getting to explore different fields. It was Teen Talk that made me switch from strictly political science to mass communication, getting more of a journalism media impact along with my degree. And getting to just talk to people about oh, this is where my kid ended up going. This is where I went, getting to hear more about college and degrees and everything from a different perspective outside of just in high school.
Oh, you can go to Ishika if you have a response at all.
Yeah, I mean, for me, most of the research I did was on my own in terms of like what colleges to apply to and like what I was looking for in a college. I will say a lot of online resources, especially like College Vine and College Essay Guy and things like that, are very useful for like getting your essays done, for finding a college that best fits what you want. Other than that, I also relied on my school counselor a lot. I was in her office like all the time, like, hey, this is my college list. What do you think of it? And yeah, that's about it.
I think a really cool opportunity was just student leadership. Something they really push here is peer leadership. We're plebes, we're the bottom of the food chain. Like everyone is always watching us. We're always being corrected on something. But there's also power in correcting each other. where it's like I hold you accountable, you're holding me accountable, that type of thing. I think in high school, especially being from Crofton, it was so brand new, we had to hold each other accountable. So it was if you're not holding this standard and you're not excelling, or sorry, not excelling, if you're not doing what needs to be done, like there's only so much I can do, but I can support you to get what you need to get done. So from Crofton, that was joining as many leadership groups, just really putting myself out there and recognizing that I wasn't the best leader in high school. There was definitely times where I really screwed up. Um, but it was saying to the people around me, like, I accept that I screwed up, like, please tell me how to do better. Um, and then especially from Crofton, like the sports teams that I was a part of, being a captain on them, like a varsity captain for 3 years was really crazy. Definitely not an experience that many other high schools have, especially if you're not at a brand new high school. So Crofton was really cool in that aspect. It was still very tough because we were trying to get our feet under us. But being able to have that experience of like, yes, I'm developing as a leader and I'm pushing myself and I'm pushing the people around me. Is definitely what got me into the mindset of like I want to come to a place that'll challenge me, where I can become the best version of myself that I can be. So it's definitely pushed me. This place was people always ask me like, oh, was it what you thought it was going to be? I didn't know what it was going to be. I didn't ask that many questions before I got here. I hit the green accept button, and then like 2 weeks later, I came here for a candidate visit weekend where you stay with one of the freshmen in their room, you go to classes with them, and I just remember thinking like, oh, this place is crazy. Like, I'm so glad I'm coming here. But I realized, like, then I had no clue I was getting into. And especially now, like, being here, I had no clue what I was getting into, and I just went for it. Um, so in high school, being able to take that leap and just go for it has definitely become a key characteristic of surviving here.
Yes, I love the mindset that you have about everything. And then my last question is, what do you recommend for students that want to go into the military or attend the Naval Academy?
Mhm. Um, I've gotten it a lot. I know a lot of people from, or there's people that happen to know me from social media, or any place, and a lot of the questions I get are like, should I do the Naval Academy? Should I apply for RTC? Should I enlist? Um, One thing that I want to say is like, people view, and I'm not sure if this is just what I've heard in the past couple months since being here. People view enlisting as like lesser than something, or they view enlisting as not a right route. Enlisting is amazing. I didn't do it, but one of my near friends here did. My dad did it. Like, if like that is why one piece of advice, like please see all routes possible. Enlisting, like my cousin is going through Marine boot camp right now. He's gonna be in for 8 years, do his bit, and then get out and go to college. Like there are ways to get where you want to get, especially through the military. Like the benefits that are given to you, the opportunities that are given to you is amazing. For ROTC, it wasn't something I considered. My philosophy was I'm either going to do it completely and go to the Naval Academy, or I'm not going to do it at all. I didn't kind of want to be in that awkward phase. But now I've recognized like if you want to have a college experience and you don't want to be yelled at every second of every day, and you still want to be able to serve your country, ROTC is amazing. And then for the Naval Academy or any service academy, um, if you decide to apply, go all in. Like there's no way to apply halfway. I don't think anyone who came here or is still here um, applied thinking that this was going to be a backup choice. Everybody applied thinking this is their top choice. This is what they really want to do, and that's kind of what makes this place special. I applied to a bunch of different colleges that were kind of like my backup in case this didn't work out, but everyone who's here knows like this is what they're committed to fully. And I mean, yes, it's the military, but we're committed to each other, which is really awesome. So just general advice for this place, work your butt off in high school, make connections, figure out who you are as a leader, and figure out if this is the right fit for you. Because there are so many ways to get into the military. And the military is a really awesome place, um, at least from what I've seen from being a military brat. And then brat is another term for military kid. From being a military brat, my dad is still active duty, and then joining myself. So it's been an interesting experience, and I highly recommend it. And my other like philosophy was I'm young, I'm 18. I could be here for 4 more years or do 5 years after that and be out before I'm 30. So there's always time to do it now. There might not be time to do it later. So go all in.
Sophia and Samir, do you guys have any questions you want to add or make sure I can include you guys?
I think this kind of goes for both Ishika and Cameron. Um, how did you like finalize your list? Like, I know Cameron, you said you applied to about like nine, and Ishika, you said like a whole lot. So how did you like kind of narrow it down? Like what were the final like deciding factors?
So I'm not gonna lie, my college list was a little bit all over the place. Um, I don't know, like if you've heard of like whatever it's called, but like kind of like shotgunning it, like applying to as many colleges as I can and seeing where I get in. That's kind of what I did. So my college list changed all the time, but I was pretty set on like obviously UMD, UMBC, like my safeties were pretty much set. I applied to Temple because one of my parents' friends recommended that. Case Western because they had a great pre-med program. Other than that, it was like all over the place. So that was my college list.
My college list was developed kind of based off of criteria I had, which in the end, LOL, I don't really remember if LSU even met any of that. I just kind of ended up falling in love with it. But I had applied to very similar schools that were all kind of in the same region, Northeast, with the similar programs, similar looking campus, similar everything. And that was kind of what I ended up doing. Looking back on it, if I could go back, I would have applied to a wider range of schools. But it was also just kind of where I thought I saw myself at the time, which is fine. And everyone I know from class of 23 took a very different route when it came to deciding, like Ishika, like she said, she kind of just shotgunned it and was going to see where she ended up, which is totally fine. I know so many people who did that and it really works out, and that's the thing. The college application process is very individual to you. No one is going to have the same experience as someone else, at least not that I've heard. So you have to kind of just look at yourself and say, what is going to work for me and try to go from there.
Just would like to get your guys' perspective on how like transitioning from high school academics to college academics is. I like especially like in comparison to AP classes or um I know Ishika you were in BEMA, so like how does it really differ from high school and is it like as scary as like some people make it out to be?
So I will say it definitely is a huge change compared to high school because college is not nearly as structured as high school is. In college, you're expected to go to your lectures, to go to your discussions, your labs, and you're responsible for making your own grade. And it's also not like everyone is following the same schedule throughout the entire day. You have your own schedule that you're coming up with. So it is a lot of self accountability and self determination to go to class, but I do think it's manageable, especially because like you're going to be taking a little bit of easier classes your freshman year. You won't be taking like the super hard advanced ones. So I definitely do think like first semester freshman year is like kind of the transition semester and it's really not as bad as it seems.
I would agree with that. I know I have a fairly light schedule for a freshman, which is a relief. Like on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I only have one class. That's definitely been making the transition a little bit easier. But I will say, watch out for those gen eds where you are in massive lecture halls and they post the notes online because you're going to look at that and you're going to go, I don't have to get up at 10:30, do I? Don't do that. I mean, okay, I've done it a couple times. I'm not going to lie to you, but don't get in the habit because then you're like, I'm missing out on valuable conversations by going to class. Like my environmental science class, I don't like science. I am not a science girly, but I go to class. Sometimes she talks about the Chesapeake Bay, and we're in Louisiana. So I go up to her. I'm like, oh my God, I'm from the Chesapeake Bay. And we have a great conversation that I never would have been able to have if I didn't go to that massive lecture hall. And also, it's a fun way to kind of make friends. And if you're in Greek life, you can see who else is in Greek life, and you're kind of like, hey, me too. You and me, great. So just go to class. It is going to be hard. It is going to be a hard adjustment because you don't have your parents over you. You don't have your teachers over you. And at least at LSU, I don't even know what my grades are. I mean, I know roughly, but like we don't have like a power school. We don't have that. They just kind of email you every now and then. They're like, oh, you have like an A, good job. And I'm like, thank God, like glad I do. Because you haven't told me anything else. So just, I don't know. Go to class, guys.
Okay, so I want to thank you guys both so much for all your responses. We only have 3 minutes left, so I just wanted to ask Sophia and Samira, kind of for college, what are your kind of career interest goals that you guys want to go into? And what options have you had right now in high school that you want to pass down on to other seniors coming up that has helped you really with this whole, I guess, transition of thinking about college and applications?
Okay, so if I'm being honest, Every time someone asks me what I want to do, I feel like the answer changes every single time. I do know that I want to be on the pre-law track. That's like all I know. I don't know how I'm gonna get there, but I'm gonna get there. Um, and I feel like going through high school and like building up my resume and doing all the things that I've done and putting myself out there has definitely very much helped with that to like narrow down the schools and say, okay, this is what I want to do. This is where I'm gonna go. Like this is where I feel like I could get the most out of. Obviously, still hoping to hear back from a couple of places. Like, and some schools are like super competitive and people are mean and that type of stuff. But I would like to say to like the rising seniors and people that are about to like begin the college application process, maybe if they have to study yet or if they're studying next year, like just take your time. Don't be in a rush. Like don't compare yourself to other people because it just won't be a fun experience.
So for me, I was very, very set on studying civil engineering. Um, but now I'm having like a little bit of an identity crisis and I'm like thinking of maybe switching to like cybersecurity, computer engineering or like electrical engineering. Definitely want to stay in the engineering side of things. But also like going towards my interest of like having a minor in maybe like technology, um, or something related to that. Um, I for me, like I think I just took advantage of everything I could. I suggest to all the underclassmen, take advantage of every opportunity, research as much as you can because things don't just come to you. You have to go look for them. Talk to your teachers for opportunities. I've done so many things. Like I have an internship right now. I've done like programs in the summer. I've done programs throughout the school year that have really helped me um, change my interests and what I want to study in my future. And also like do things that like field trips and stuff like that where you get to network and talk to industry professionals because it really helps.
I want to thank all of my guests today for sharing their insights and expertise regarding college and career options post high school. I hope you found this conversation informative and inspiring as you take the first step on this new and exciting journey. To my fellow seniors, we got this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on Teen Talk.